I'm the kind of person who will avoid a game or movie or show that I'm super excited about because I'm worried that I'll enjoy it the wrong way. Welcome back to Puzzled, where every week I share thoughts about a specific topic while I work on a puzzle. And this week I'm going to be started on this succulent puzzle. It's only 500 pieces, very small compared to the 4,000 piece puzzle I've been actively working on. I thought maybe it'd be more enjoyable to see some progress actually be done on a puzzle. And I've got this organizer right here where I can organize the pieces into these different trays. So if I want to sort out the colors, I can. Normally I try to release these videos on Mondays, but this week's was a little bit late because of, stress. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world and a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. So I just needed to push it off a tiny bit, but here we are. Now I haven't done the research for it yet, but I'm pretty sure that this is a common phenomena with ADHD. I do know about body doubling. That's a pretty common thing that people who are neurodivergent tend to enjoy. I think enjoy is the wrong word. They employ body doubling because having someone physically present can make you feel like you're actually doing something, and you have a better sense of time passing as well, which helps a lot. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I want to start out by giving some concrete examples of this. First, Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 is a game that I was very excited about for a very, very long time leading up to its release. And I was planning to play through and record the game the week that it came out. Because I love Remedy. I love Remedy Entertainment. I love their games. And do I need this slip? It is more vibrant than the cover. I think I'll have this further away, like over here for reference. And then I'll have this closer up if I need more detail. Anyway, I love Remedy Entertainment. I love their games. And I was so excited about Alan Wake 2. And the week that it came out, or I'll say the week before it came out, I was stressed because I didn't finish my Control series on my YouTube channel. And as of this recording day, I still haven't finished it. And I was kind of stressed because I knew that the events of the game sort of lead into Alan Wake 2. I know that they're like sharing the same universe. And so I was concerned. I don't think I'm gonna use the trays. I was concerned that I wouldn't be able to fully experience Alan Wake 2. I might miss out on some Easter eggs or some details, or actually get something spoiled from Control. But one thing I did do to mediate that fear was I did the Alan Wake expansion, the Alan Wake DLC in Control that kind of ties the games together a little bit better. and that worked as a nice little compromise that worked for me. And so I got that out. I recorded it, all three of those videos in one evening for the Alan Wake expansion to Control. And then I edited them and posted them, I think the same week that I recorded them. And I felt so efficient. I felt so productive. I went back and I started editing Control videos that I recorded a year prior. And as of today's recording, I'm recording this on Wednesday. This Monday, 2 days ago, or sorry, this Sunday, 3 days ago, I finally released the 5th part of Control. I recorded that video I think 3 years ago. I'm still sitting on videos that I recorded at my parents' house in like 2021. That's a different topic. That's for a different time. It stresses me out thinking about it. Let me get back to what I was saying. So anyway, yeah, Alan Wake 2 was around the corner. I was getting so hyped for it, and I don't want to say I made the mistake, because I don't think it was a mistake, but I told my friend Sean that I was going to record Alan Wake 2 and asked him if he was interested in recording those videos with me. And he of course said yes. We love making stuff together. It's a lot of fun. So on the midnight release, we recorded the first part of Alan Wake 2. was super hype, super exciting. We had great energy. It's probably one of my most edited videos, and by most edited, I mean like I had 7 video tracks, I had 8 audio tracks, I had sound effects and visual stuff going on the whole time. I was having a blast. That energy doesn't last long. That is not sustainable. And we only recorded 1 chapter that night because it was, I think, 1:30 or 2 a.m. when we first started recording, and that wasn't going to work. We had to stop for that night. And so it was, I think, 2 more weeks before we recorded the next part, and we recorded 2 parts that time, and then a month passed, we recorded the next part, and I got stuck because I had just started school at the time. I've since graduated, but I just started my computer programming school. I didn't realize how much time and energy that would take from me. When I first moved out of my parents' house, I had a almost full-time job. I was at a very cheap apartment where I could afford it. I was making, I think, $1,100 a month after tax. So I was making like no money, but I also wasn't very busy. I was paying the bills, and I was streaming 4 hours every evening. That did not last long. That was an awesome time in life that I can look back on. I don't think I'll ever experience that again. It was just a, time and place kind of thing. So when I signed up for Alan Wake 2, I didn't know what I was signing up for because those are longer chapters. So the recording sessions to begin with are longer, which makes the editing exponentially longer. I talked about this in my first episode of Puzzled, where the whole content creation thing. You can go back to the first episode of Puzzled and watch that. I get more in depth about that there. But anyway, I got stuck because we had a backlog of videos that hadn't even begun editing. We just have the raw files of those recordings. I really wanted to continue playing Alan Wake 2, but I didn't want to get too far ahead because the backlog was already huge. I knew that if the backlog got bigger, I'd never get to working on it. And I also wanted the recordings to be genuine. I wanted the reactions. I don't want to make sloppy content. I never want to make sloppy content. The only reason I make stuff is because I want to make something that is exciting and enjoyable that I myself would like to see, and I wouldn't be ashamed of showing someone and telling them to watch it. And so replaying a game and faking reactions is just not my cup of tea. It is not something that I ever want to do. I'm kind of doing it with Control, but I'm more presenting Control as like this is a game that I love and I know very well. Whereas with Alan Wake 2, it would be I just now played this and I'm playing it again. It would be very cheap. So I was stuck. Couldn't record more and couldn't play it without recording. And so here we are 2 years later, and I still don't know how the game ends. We started going down the Alan Wake path, and we didn't even go down the Saga path yet. So we're not even halfway through the game, and it's this much time has passed. I don't remember what happened in the game so far. And this was something I was so excited about. Like think Avengers Endgame excited. I love Remedy games. I love the storytelling. I love the gameplay. I love everything about them. I love the Finnish culture and American culture combining, and the lore and the things that you can pick up and read, and the world building. They're truly perfect games. So I didn't want to cheap out on enjoying it. I wanted to enjoy it as much as it deserved. But that connection ritual turned into a locked gate that I can't get past because I have a backlog of videos I need to edit in order to allow myself to play more. Now, I do have some theories on why I can't enjoy games alone. And I think one of them is that having a shared memory is the actual thing that I'm going after, and playing the game is just kind of the vehicle for that reward or for that experience. I think it's time for a little bit of story, a little bit of lore, a little bit of backstory, build up back. What am I saying? Hang on a second. I'm sorting the puzzle and I'm having trouble talking while I'm doing that. So this is either an instigator or a solidifier of this feeling. I don't know which one. I think I was able to enjoy games better before this, so it might have been the instigator. But late 2018 or early 2019 was my first experience having a true friend group. Having friends for the first time. And I was 16, 15 turning 16, 16 turning 17 in that time period. And so, very formative year, very formative time. There was some pretty heavy stuff happening in the family at the time, within my household. And growing up, we didn't really have friends over that much. Until we moved to the new house that had a pool, we'd have pool parties and stuff. But especially 2018, 2019, I was able to exercise the freedom of inviting friends over and like hosting my own parties. And one of my favorite parts to those hangouts and get-togethers was throwing on Spotify in the background and playing Forza Horizon 4 at the time and just driving aimlessly around and chatting, talking with my friends. And now I can't listen to that music without thinking about that and, you know, the way that felt. And I think that's a feeling, kind of a moment of closeness, a moment of we're just experiencing life together in the most real of states, that I guess ever since then I've been trying to chase that feeling, which kind of sounds pathetic hearing it out loud, but man, that didn't last long because COVID and lockdown happened soon after. I had just hit my stride. I had just established what made me happy. I'd figured out my core friend group. I was actually sharing my feelings with people who mattered to me. I started my first relationship in December of 2019, which is like right before COVID started. And, you know, things got to the best and then they got to the worst. And just so happened at the time, the heavy family stuff that was going on hadn't resolved. It had improved a little bit, but it hadn't resolved. And is still ongoing. I don't know if trauma is the right word or just how abrupt it was, but I figured out something that made me extremely happy and then it was suddenly ripped from me. And thankfully through COVID I was able to do a lot of online gaming sessions, but it just wasn't the same. I couldn't just sit with my friends, sometimes in silence, driving around aimlessly in Forza, listening to music, or, you know, chatting about something deep. It's just different online. There's a barrier there. And after COVID, we'd all graduated high school, we've gone our different ways. Some of my friends have moved to different states. And it's just hard to pick that up again. It's hard to recreate that. And it would feel artificial to try to just force it, you know, try to create that feeling again. Since it happened once, I'm afraid of it not happening again. So I wait to experience things just in case I can have those moments of shared experience. Sorry if that was a little rambly. I'm starting to... I don't really think about this very often, even though it's something I know about myself. I get frustrated with myself that I don't watch my movies and I don't play my games, but I don't think about the reason, and this is honestly very eye-opening to me just processing this out loud. It's like I lost something. But aside from the shared memory thing, I think another side of it is when I'm, let's say, playing a game. Let's focus on the playing a game thing, because this also applies to movies and shows, but especially playing a game. I don't feel like I'm being productive. I feel like I could be doing something better with my time. And if I'm recording or streaming, it at least feels a little bit productive because I am accomplishing a goal alongside enjoying that hobby. And this leads this ties exactly into what this podcast is, which is giving myself an excuse to work on puzzles again, because I haven't done that in so long. Like, it hasn't been a normal part of my life, and it used to be a defining part of my life. It used to be my nickname is Puzzle. Like, this is something that I'm good at, that I do a lot, that I don't do anymore. And one of the reasons is it's time consuming, and I feel like I'm wasting my time that I could be spending on something creative or productive. So, you know, turning it into a podcast was, I'll say, a pretty good idea on my part. I'll pat myself on the back for that. But with games, it kind of sucks because I can't always record. I sometimes want to play a game in my living room on my couch with my surround sound and 65-inch TV and just get immersed like I'm watching a movie. But at the end of those gaming sessions, I turn off the Xbox and I sit there and I'm like, did I just waste time? Did I accomplish anything? And then I don't have someone to turn to and talk to and say, man, that was such a cool experience. I just kind of have to sit there with it. And that sucks. I do have shared interests with my partner, but she doesn't like a lot of the same games that I do. She suffers from motion sickness, pretty sensitive to motion sickness, so a lot of games she has trouble even watching people play, but especially has trouble playing herself. That sucks because it's really something that I need to bond with people. I need to bond over. We do have games we both enjoy, but it's hard to just grab a random one to sit down because I have to vet it and see if it's something that she can stomach or not. And that sucks. This might be getting too personal. I might have to cut that. But I don't hate gaming. I definitely don't have a gaming addiction because I just can't play games very often. But I hate being alone. I hate being alone. It hurts me to the core. Even more than watching a movie or a show, playing a game by myself is just downright depressing. Like, utterly, to my core, depressing. Because it feels like it's manufactured as something I need to share with someone. I do know in my brain that that's not true. You know, at least not 100% true. I can't shake the feeling, though. So I lose the habits unless they're content focused or community focused, and then I get frustrated and mad when I come across spoilers. I get mad because I allowed myself to come across a spoiler, and I get mad that I restrained myself from enjoying that piece of media before getting spoiled. You know, vicious cycle. This has been turning into a longer episode, so I need to wrap it up soon. But this is one of those topics that I could talk about for a very long time. It's instilled in my nature at this point, and I think it might be because of 2018, 2019 being a form of escapism, being somewhere where I could place my identity and joy, and then it being violently suddenly ripped away with COVID. I had just figured it out. I thought I figured it all out, and then it was all gone. And so I've been like crawling toward it ever since then. And it's ruined almost every experience since then. I just can't enjoy stuff anymore. I need to talk to my therapist about this. I didn't even realize this was so serious. You know what's funny is I actually had therapy today. I didn't even think about this. Time for some closing thoughts. This week I'm gonna try one or two experiments that I thought of. One of them is in response to the whole having a gaming session and then looking side to side and being like, No one's here. If there is someone that you know would enjoy that game, it was a scheduling conflict and they couldn't play it with you at the time, do a voice memo. And I'm telling myself this, I'm not telling you. You can glean from this whatever you want, but like I'll do a voice memo or something like that and spill about an exciting moment from that gaming session to, let's say, Sean, if it was a game that Sean would enjoy. And then that'll at least help a little bit with the outlet. Another thing is just allowing myself to spend some time budgeting, dieting, whatever word you want to call it, like giving myself an allocated 30 minutes or hour of play that is strictly offline. Not like I turn off my Wi-Fi, but I'm not recording it, I'm not streaming it, I'm not content braining it, I'm not imagining or hoping that there's someone with me enjoying it, but enjoying it with myself and for myself. Putting that into practice, because I put the social one into practice and trained myself to be reliant on that, and I need to train myself out of it. The goal is training myself to enjoy it, and that'll be very difficult. I can already see myself refusing to let that work, because I'm a stubborn person against myself sometimes. But I'm gonna try that. Alright, and I invite you to try that if you think it'll help you. If you struggle to enjoy things on your own, one option is right after you attempted to enjoy that thing, call a friend or do a voice memo and just gush over it, talk about how exciting it was or how frustrating it was, how it made you feel, and that could be a good outlet. Or on the flip side, completely remove the idea of there being a social aspect and strictly enjoy it for yourself. Hone in and focus on it being something for you, and maybe eventually you can find pleasure in that by itself without seeking that shared memory craving. There was a Harvard study in 2024, October 2024, that showed that 21% of adults in the US have extreme loneliness feelings. Even people with lifelong partners, with good friends, they just still have that feeling of loneliness. And I definitely think part of it can be not knowing how to enjoy spending time with yourself as if you are your own friend. And I know that there are people who worry about that being a narcissist loop or something that can feed into self-centeredness. If you're worried about that, pretty sure that you're good, pretty sure that you're in the clear. If you're conscious of that, I don't think you should be worried about it. If you don't think about that, you might need to look inside and think, why haven't you thought about that? But that I'm joking. We all seek external validation, and it's good to exercise some self-time. And I think I'm going to work on that this week. Thank you for hanging out with me for another episode of Puzzled. If you resonated with any of this, definitely engage in the comments and talk about this. We're becoming a community of like-minded people, because that's how algorithms work, and there's no way to avoid that. And also let me know if there are any topics you'd like me to talk about in the future. I've got a few more lined up that I'm going to record and release anyway, but if there's anything along the lines of ADHD, neurodivergency, social anxiety, stuff like that you'd like me to talk about, or even respond to your experiences with that, just leave them in the comments and I'll read them all. I mean, getting 1 to 5 comments per video, gonna read them all. Don't worry about me missing it. And thank you for engaging with the video if you did, liking, subscribing, commenting, clicking on another video and watching it, because that's honestly worth more than anything else. And above all else, I hope this episode has left you a little less puzzled.